Madsen gets the snap, blitz in the middle, it's picked up, Madsen to run, 25, 30, 35, cuts back to the middle, 40, 50, Madsen still going, has a blocker, Jeanty in front of him, and he gets inside the 30, he'll be tackled at the 26-yard line. Maddux Madsen's longest run of the year, quarterback draw. 4th and goal at the 2. Bolt in motion, fake it to Jeanty, Madsen rolls right, throws for the end zone, back of the end zone, caught, Matt Lauder, Mr. 4th down, his 3rd 4th down catch on the season.
Boise State goes down to UNLV and comes up with a big-time victory over the Rebels. Welcome on into Jay's Sports Bar. I'm Jay Tust. He's former Boise State wide receiver Shane Williams-Rhodes. What an absolute heavyweight fight between Boise State and UNLV. I gotta say, Shane, been covering this team for a long time, since before you were playing for the Broncos. So often UNLV is an opponent you don't respect. I could not have walked away with more respect for the Rebels following that game. It was so physical and fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why this team leads the NCAA in turnovers. It's crazy. Their defense came out. They did exactly what we thought they would do. They sold out on the run, but on that back end, those DBs play hard. They play really good. I mean, some of our big plays we had were tips, so it says a lot about that defense.
Coming up today on the show, we're going to tell you who you need to root for outside of Boise State in the Mountain West Conference, because I don't know if UNLV and facing them again is super ideal. I'd love to see the matchup one more time, but we'll break that down. We're going to go into some of the key points in the UNLV game. 4th down performance. Maddux Madsen is as good as they come when it comes to executing in crucial downs. We'll talk about the Boise State defense. Man, they get after UNLV again. And, of course, Ashton Jeanty. And we'll preview this coming Friday's game, another Friday game between San Diego State. Do you guys like Friday games as athletes?
Yes.
Because you get the weekend?
You get less practice, right? You kind of dread practice when you get to about week 8 and 9. You get less practices, and then practices are a little bit, tiered down because, they want to have you fresh for Friday and just play it on Saturday. And then after the game, you get a long weekend. So I did like Friday games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Friday games for Boise State. They get the bye, they play UNLV, and now they play San Diego State on a Friday before hosting Nevada next week, which there could be a little bit of juice in that game. I know that Nevada's not great, but Jeff Choate's going to have those boys fired up, and I'm just going to say there could be a little extra national attention on that matchup. More on that on another podcast. But let's begin with some of the key points in that UNLV game, and I thought there were a number of them. And the thing that stands out to me is that Boise State really executed in these key moments. Head coaches, they throw so many cliches out there, right? Like, do you have a favorite, or what was the most overused, maybe cliche saying, something like that during your era? Could be blue collar, bleed blue. It could be anything. For Spencer Danielson right now, one thing that he always likes to say is just stay in the fight.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. The big one, obviously, for the big year we had in 2014 was, just embrace the past, attack the future. We've had a lot of good things happen around here in the past, but we got to attack the future in order for us to be, cement ourselves into the history books like the other teams did.
And you did. You won a 3rd Fiesta Bowl in program history. Boise State hasn't been back to that stage since then. It's been over a decade, or about a decade right now, and they're trying to get back there, and they're in the driver's seat to go to the college football playoff. But for some of these key moments in the UNLV game, I go to the 3rd drive of this game that UNLV had the ball on offense. And it was interesting, Shane, in the first quarter, it looked like one team was fresh and coming out of a bye, and it wasn't Boise State. Boise State was the team coming out of a bye, but UNLV was on a 6-day turnaround from a Saturday night game at Oregon State. They seemed to be the fresher team. They were the aggressor, and they came out and really kind of punched the Broncos in the mouth early on.
And I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, but I hate playing after bye weeks. It's never, historically, Boise State teams, we come out, because that first week in the bye week is usually a slower week, back to basics, not a lot of banging going on. And then you have to flip the switch the following week, get back into game mode. You haven't hit anyone for 2 weeks. It's just really tough to come out of a bye week. I mean, I don't know how some of these teams come out and are just firing, but yes, you feel better and you're healthier, but you haven't been at that game speed for 14 days. So it's so hard to come out of that. And that's what I expected coming out.
That's why it almost seems like it's more beneficial even the second half, right? Because then maybe it really starts to wear and tear on a UNLV team that, was on a 6-day turnaround to where Boise State finally regained the rhythm and once again finished another game really, really strong. But it was the third drive of the game for UNLV on offense. And they just forced Boise State off the field. The Rebels are leading 10-3, and they rip off a big 29-yard run. And Devon Banks comes out of nowhere to make a one-on-one tackle in space to prevent a 76-yard touchdown run. UNLV continues to drive down the field. We're now in the start of the second quarter because that was the end of the first. UNLV tries to run a trick play, and Jaden Virgin-Morgan, who is growing up before our very own eyes and making not just physical plays, but now heady, smart plays, sees the quarterback kind of drift across his face and says, "This is not right." And so he all of a sudden kind of peels back, creates a passing completion. You go back and you look at the all-22 on that, Shane. If he doesn't do that,
touchdown.
It is the easiest walk-in 25-yard touchdown that UNLV's probably had all season.
Yep.
So he creates a deflection or at least an incompletion there. 2 plays later, a sack that Jaden comes up with.
Williams gets the snap. Williams steps up in the pocket. He'll go down. Virgin-Morgan with the tackle.
And a 44-yard field goal becomes a 52-yard field goal. And the kicker for UNLV doesn't even make it halfway through the end zone, basically, on that field goal attempt. Just a massive swing. It's the difference between being down 13-3 on the road in the second quarter with UNLV kicking off versus 10-3 and getting the ball at midfield. I mean, just a massive swing right there. Jaden Virgin-Morgan becoming a dude. We're going to talk about him in a second here. But just they stayed in the fight, man. It was just like the epitome of what Spencer Danielson is asking his boys to do. A huge run. Devon Banks, one-on-one, somehow gets the ball carrier down. And after that, the odds even still against Boise State, but they stay in the fight. And somehow they walk away. UNLV walks away with no points on that drive.
Yeah, and I know the stats do not show it, but I'm going to keep hammering this. All big games, our defense has showed up, and I feel comfortable with not having the ball at the end of the game with a lead because our pass rush has been obviously the best in the country. And yes, we struggle catching the ball on the back end, but we are always in position for the most part. If you even look at all the big plays, like the passes, you take out one, that was a little trick play, you got to bluff and go from your tight end. He peels out the back end. Nobody's even on that half of the field. Outside of that, if you look at the deep balls that were completed, we're right in the hip. We're right where we're supposed to be. I can't complain. I mean, the defense has done more than enough to me.
Again, we've mentioned this before, but something that just to reiterate, these defensive backs for Boise State are being put in tough positions. It's not to say they can't handle these positions, but man, they send so much pressure at times. You are leaving guys one-on-one in coverage on multiple occasions. And so, yes, there are certain times where, yeah, you would like to shut off some of these big plays, but to think it's going to be perfect with the way they play is just wrong. And their whole MO right now is get sacks, get these guys behind the chains, try to make them a little bit more predictable in what they're doing on offense. And, hey, I know that some of these big plays, they make you sweat at times and they make you maybe, throw the remote at a pillow or something like that. But you're just not going to have the best of both worlds with the way that they play. And to your point, like in big games against good teams, right? UNLV was the fifth-ranked offense in the country, averaging 45 points per game going into that contest. Boise State limits them to 24. You go back to Oregon. They're averaging 35 points per game overall this season. Boise State's defense only allows 23 against the Ducks. You look at the Washington State game. Washington State's averaging over 40 points per game when they don't play Boise State. Against Boise State, they had 17 points with 20 seconds to go. They score a touchdown to get to 24. So Boise State's holding all of these elite teams well under their season averages, right? Georgia Southern, get up big, and you just kind of like just do this the whole game, right? Utah State, you get up big, and you just kind of do this the whole game. But against these teams where, hey, the goal is to finish and play good defense, They are holding all of those teams well below their season average. Actually kind of seeing a point trend here. 24 points for UNLV, 23 points for Oregon's offense, 24 points for Washington State. With Ashton Jeanty and what Boise State's doing on offense, if you're only allowing 24 points per game, you're going to win a lot of games the rest of the way.
What people don't realize, though, is our offense has been such a quick strike offense. Okay, 60-yard touchdown. I believe Jeanty had a 50-yard touchdown every game besides this one. So it's a lot of quick strikes. Our defense has been on the field more than our offense. And even though they have, usually you get a team that's going to be wear and tear and, eventually you're going to start giving stuff up. They aren't. They're out there and they are holding them. And the thing is, we're getting those sacks. Once you get to 3rd and 12, you eliminate so much from the playbook. So, yeah, you got the screen game we still have to worry about, but for the most part, things have to be vertical down the field.
35 sacks as a team. That is the most in all of college football. They're averaging 5 sacks per game. That is almost a full sack more than the second-place team. You're talking that's like a 20% increase you're talking about, Shane, over the next closest team to you in terms of sacks per game.
It's not one guy. We have multiple guys with multiple sacks.
Shea
From
Oladipo.
DBs, linebackers, D linemen, it's everybody.
Yeah. Shea Oladipo leads the country amongst safeties in sacks. He's got 4.5. Alexander Tubner gets the first sack of his career against UNLV. Jaden Virgin-Morgan is turned into a dude, man. Number 5 for Boise State coming off the edge. Everybody wanted to focus on number 91, Ahmed Hassani, coming into this year. By the way, he's got 7 sacks. That's near the top of the leaderboard in the Mountain West, second most for that matter. And everybody wanted to focus on him. And now everybody's like, oh man, we got to figure out how to block 5 now.
Yep. It's a recipe for success for sure. You get that pressure on. It's a lot harder to throw those deep balls when you're running for your life.
Confidence does so much for a player, and earlier this week we caught up with Jayden Virgin-Morgan. I liken his success to Ahmed Hassani's from a year ago. 2-3 games into the season last year, Ahmed's production did not match the effort that he was putting in during practice, and that's something that he acknowledged. Then all of a sudden, a sack in 9 straight games, and he became an all-Mountain West player at defensive end. Well, Jayden Virgin-Morgan off to a slow start this year. He has absolutely exploded these last couple of weeks, and here was what he had to say about what confidence is doing for his game.
I was joking with Jabril, like we were watching the UNLV game from last year, and I was like, those are 2 very different players out there. He just plays so much more fast, so much more confident.
One of the biggest things for me is pursuit to the ball and getting as close to the ball as possible every single play. That helps me make plays, and then winning my one-on-one and then pursuing the ball.
Williams will go down. He'll be sacked. Oladipo and Virgin-Morgan combined.
One big thing that Coach Frazier talks about is being able to take over the game as a stud, and I feel like I was able to do that.
We knew the work he was putting in the offseason. To see it come into fruition for him is special, honestly. I love the way he comes to work every single day, and I knew that he'd have a big year.
You look at his sack totals from these last couple of games: 2.5 against Hawaii, 1.5 against UNLV. He's got 12 quarterback pressures over these last few weeks, darn near the top of college football in terms of pressuring the quarterback. For you, Shane, what point in time in your career did you gain the confidence that all of a sudden it led into the snowball effect where you wind up with 77 catches your sophomore season, I think?
It's funny you said that because I was going to say sophomore season. You've played so many games. He's clearly played a lot more games than I have, my first year. But or not games, but I guess reps as far as being in. And you start seeing stuff so much, you start anticipating, okay, this guy's going to come and he's going to do this. So now I know what to do. He's seen it so much, and clearly you can see it throughout the year. He's seen stuff so much, he knows what's coming. That trick play, being able to defend that was so big. I don't think people realize how hard that is for you to be, because especially with how our pass rush is, okay? So we're always in the backfield. So he's in the backfield. He could have just chased the ball.
Yep.
Instead, he was able to identify, okay, the quarterback is doing something he hasn't done all game. We haven't seen it on film, and, he stays off.
So the pass goes all the way out to the field side, right? And it looks like the guy might gear up and throw right in front of him, and then he pivots. And you see Jaden's already in position to make that play. And that's why I'm right there with you, man, in terms of how impressive that is, because you have a split second for these instincts to kick in. Like, it's one of those plays where I don't even know if you're not thinking it through. It is something you see and your instinct says, this ain't right, let's adjust. And the way that he explained it afterwards, I was joking around with him. I'm like, does a younger Jayden Virgin-Morgan make that play? And he's like, oh, no. No, the younger one, you're right. He sees the ball go across the field. Let's go chase it, you know? And he was like, nah, I couldn't have made that play.
Yep.
But the play that I could make was just following this guy and shutting that down.
And it goes back to the basics. I mean, if you don't get blocked, you stop. That's the rule. It's a screen. Something's coming. He didn't get blocked. Instead of chasing, he stops, he identifies, he makes the play. And I mean, honestly, I'm getting very, very Kamale career vibes.
Yeah, he plays very hard, and he is a very physical player. So this third drive by UNLV, before I move on, I want to get Spencer Danielson's thoughts on it. Again, Devon Banks, touchdown-saving tackle. Jayden Virgin-Morgan, touchdown-saving pass defense, and then a sack that knocks UNLV out of field goal range to really maybe kind of even save the game for Boise State.
As a coach, it's my job to create messaging for our players, and I believe messaging is a force multiplier when not only myself, but the coaches and our players, that becomes what you talk about, becomes what you think about. And then when you think about it, that becomes your actions. And being able to do that in practice, and then now being able to use game examples of it is everything. And I showed that exact sequence to our team to show them, okay, this is what happened, explosive play, they're in the red zone, it's a 10-3 ball game. We started with the ball. And so, I mean, they are winning the first quarter going in the second quarter. And then, I mean, if Jayden Virgin doesn't bat that trick play down, that's a walk-in touchdown. It's 17-3. Stay in the fight. So instead of being 17-3, it's 10-3. We go down and put points on the board. And that's the momentum shifts in a game. And that's why I talk about a lot, that momentum is created through execution. It's not because of a pump-up speech on the sideline, or it's not because, oh my gosh, this is the crowd's finally roaring. No. Momentum is created through execution, and that's what I'm proud of our guys being able to sink back into their techniques, their fundamentals, and doing it for each other so they can execute in these critical moments.
So from a clutch performance by the defense to clutch performances by the offense, with about 2 minutes to go in the first half, back to kind of that mode where Boise State fans are probably sweating it. All Boise State's been able to do at this point in time is kick field goals. They're still trailing 10-6, and UNLV gets the ball at the start of the second half. And it's kind of that scary twofer moment, that middle four, middle eight, whatever you want to call it, meaning the last couple minutes of the first half and the first few minutes of the second half. UNLV, man, it looked like they were in a great position to dominate that. And Boise State was able to flip that script so quickly because of their execution on fourth down. If they kick a field goal and go down 10-9, UNLV gets the ball back with plenty of time, plenty of timeouts to go down, try to drive and score, and then they get the ball back to start the second half. So a 10-9 game could easily turn into 16-9 or worst case scenario 24-9.
Yep.
And instead Boise State finds themselves at halftime leading 20-10. I mean, it was. I don't think the fans. I don't think some people watching the game realize how close it was to being that being the result. Instead, Boise State converts on a fourth down. Matt Lauder, a beautiful corner route. Maddux Madsen makes the right decision, hits him, and then a couple plays later they score a touchdown.
Yeah, and I don't know if people really understand how big the throw was, because he throws it before he's out of his break. He throws it low and away from the DB. That way, I mean, Matt's a tall guy.
Yep.
He just has to drop down. He can cradle the ball. It's just such a huge throw. Everyone just knew the ball was going to Jeanty. They put Jeanty in the flats. That allows that coverage, that corner, to come down. That opens up the window for Maddox. He delivers, and yeah, man, those are the little things that, that makes you question why people are questioning us having Maddox
Matson, yep.
Yeah.
And that's even, I was there watching it live, and I saw Jeanty go to the flat, and I immediately was like, man, pull that trigger quickly, get it to Ashton. But you see that cornerback kind of just hang with Ashton, and as good as Ashton is after the catch, man, he catches it probably 3 yards short of the sticks. Yeah. He's really got to make a move there with his back to that defender, and I don't know. Maddox holds it a second longer. That guy comes up to cover Ashton, and he makes a beautiful throw to Matt Miller for that first down. I'm right there with you, man. That wasn't his only fourth down conversion of that stretch. Also, his touchdown pass to Matt Lauder, conveniently, was also on fourth down. Maddux Madsen on fourth down this year, Shane. 6 of 7, 103 yards, 3 touchdown passes. That is tied for the most on that down in college football. His quarterback efficiency rating 350.7, the second best in college football. Maddox has been absolutely money on fourth down this year.
He has. Honestly, to say this is a little weird, but he's the perfect quarterback for our system. He's someone who's not going to turn the ball over, and he's going to make the plays that we need. The plays that we need aren't necessarily, deep balls. They're not 60-yard. They're not how UNLV's plays were. They're explosives, but they're stuff that gives us the ability to see another, set of downs. So now you can have Jeanty pop for a big one. It's a much more efficient offense when you rely on the run versus you're able to rely on the pass, because clearly you can see teams that rely on the pass, once that's locked up and you can't run the ball, that changes things.
I'm going to make a very dangerous comparison here between Maddox and another Boise State quarterback in just a second. But before I get there, we asked Maddox about his relationship with Dirk Cutter and how they have this connection that allows them to always be productive on fourth down. And Maddox's response, kind of funny, because obviously there's some give and take in the relationship. Take a listen.
I mean, I saw Dirk after the game, and he just kind of mentioned, he's like, I wanted to hug you multiple times and I want to punch you multiple times. And I think that's just our relationship. I mean, just the continuous trust that I feel that Dirk has in me.
4th down and 2 from the 21-yard line. Madsen in the shotgun. He will throw for it. Ball caught, 1st down at the 7.
But I also think it comes from the top down. You look at Coach D being aggressive.
We know we're going to go for it on 4th down. We're going to be on the attack, and the moment's not too big because that's how they practice. And I keep coming back to that because that's what this team's about. That's Boise State football. It's blue collar, chip on your shoulder, nothing given, everything earned. That's who this group is. And I love being a part of them. They impact me every single day. So when we win these big moments, it's not too big for them because they practiced it.
We get a 4th down, and we kind of know we're staying on the field. That's a complete confidence builder in so many ways. And honestly, once you get 4th downs against the defense, that crushes them 100%. And so I think that's where we're at, of just continuous trust, and it's built from fall camp to now. Like, we knew we were going to be aggressive on 4th downs coming in the season itself, and I feel like we've proven that through games.
So what happens after that? Andrew Simpson drops into coverage, gets an interception, sets up another touchdown, and all of a sudden Boise State takes this 10-6 deficit, really threatening to maybe have that game slip away from a little bit, to a commanding 20-10 halftime lead, and we know how much momentum means in football, and Boise State just seems to have all of it at the sudden. Okay, here is my dangerous comparison that I really need you to hear me out about. And if you're listening, watching, whatever, I don't want you to take it too far. I am talking about a pocket, fitting word here, of information that I just need you to focus on.
All right, you be careful now.
I'm going to be careful here. I'm not talking about arm strength, accuracy, height, what hand they throw the ball with, none of that. I am talking about simply pocket awareness. I got to watch the final year of the Kellen Moore era. And in terms of pocket awareness, not running into pressure and taking a sack, making little moves into the pocket or up in the pocket, just sliding around to avoid sacks. Mm-hmm. If you compare Maddox Madsen to any Boise State quarterback, in this pocket right here, not talking about anything else, in this pocket, he does things that number 11 did.
The reason I'm going to say I can accept that is because I'm just going to go down the line. You go Taylor Green, that's probably an escape pocket, take off.
Get out of there. Yeah, and what happens? You get some awesome.
Yeah.
But also, guess what? You get something terrible.
Yep. You go Hank Bachmeier, it's probably a sack.
Yeah.
You go Grant Hedrick. He's probably taking off for about 50 yards.
Yeah, Grant's a little different.
You go, so you can go through, you go Brett Rippon. He doesn't have the ability to be so mobile. Mm-hmm. Yes, he can stick in there, but he doesn't have the speed to extend.
Yep.
So I'm the only one you got left really for the most part who's taking a ton of snaps is Kellen. I can see it.
I love Brett for me, and that's why honestly that's even why I'm careful with this example, because again, I thought the world of Brett Rippon when he was here. He was still so closely connected with the Kellen Moore era where expectations were still just so off the charts ridiculous that people thought you could even come close to what Kellen did statistically.
They still are.
They still are for the most part, but I feel like they've at least eased a little bit. Brett was from Eastern Washington, broke a bunch of Kellen's high school records before coming to Boise State, wore number 11 in high school, switched to number 4 in college, because, let's face it, Kellen's number 11 is unofficially retired. You were the last guy. You were the last guy to wear 11.
No one wants to wear that.
Nobody wants to wear it.
No one ever wanted to wear that.
Shane Williams-Rhodes didn't want to wear it.
No one ever wanted to wear that.
I think we talked about that on the very first edition of Jay's Sports Bar, where you're like.
And it is retired.
Yeah.
It's retired. Is it technically retired?
It retired in the building.
Gotcha. Okay, I get that.
Because we're still waiting for those digits to go up for Shane Williams-Rhodes. Kellen Moore. in Albertson Stadium. No, it means so much to this offense and fans, or not even fans. Like, there are just some people out there that just want to be overly critical and wait for the negative. But his ability to not take sacks has been huge. And again, his ability to maneuver the pocket and get the ball out quickly and not take sacks, I think it is the best I've seen in a Boise State uniform since Kellen Moore. Hate me, I don't care. Leave a comment saying I'm wrong, whatever. I see it with my own eyes, and Maddox rarely hangs on to the ball too long. Like, you never feel like, oh God, why didn't he get it out there? He just took a sack. You know, you just never have that feeling with Maddux Madsen, and it means a lot to this offense. So Boise State dominates the middle eight. Maddox plays pretty well, finishes 18 of 33, 209, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. You at the top of the show mentioned UNLV led the country in turnover margin. That is such a difficult stat to overcome. If you win, there are few stats in football that correlate winning to a stat like turnover margin. Teams that are elite in turnover margin are usually elite in the win column. In this case, I guess it actually holds true. Boise State does not turn the ball over. They get the Andrew Simpson interception. They actually win the turnover battle against UNLV, and they win the game.
The scariest part about this defense is we don't get a turn of turnovers ourselves. But if we did, just let's say we've had 15 opportunities for some tip picks and some stuff in our hands. If we get half of those, more of these games would be blowout. Even though we haven't had a ton of close games.
I'm just waiting for the one game to happen.
These would be blowouts.
There's going to be a game where they get 4. Like, it's got to be there.
Yeah.
You feel like it's coming. Could it be this week? Maybe.
I would love for it to be this week. This is a tough week every year for us.
It might be this week. Before we get on to that, let's talk about Ashton Jeanty. We've made it like 20 minutes into the show, and we have barely talked about the Heisman hopeful.
Well, it's because
this is kind of by design, because we've been talking so much about the Heisman hopeful.
It's the defense hasn't been getting the respect that they deserve. Jeanty is the team leader, but you got to have a good defense for it all to click, and they've been doing their job.
I hate the takes out there that Ashton Jeanty had an off night. There's actually a couple of reasons why I hate them. It's because they're from people that didn't watch the game, that are just solely looking at his numbers, forgetting the fact that UNLV is actually good this year, forgetting the fact that UNLV had a top 20 rush defense this year, not knowing that they absolutely loaded the frickin' box all night long, and whether Two was getting the ball or not, they had 2 dudes just basically looking at him the whole night. To go for 128 on 33 carries, believe it or not, under those circumstances, is actually pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
Now, all that being said, I'm willing to somewhat admit he's had better nights. We are so used to the superhuman, I can't believe it, unbelievable runs by Ashton Jeanty, and he was so close to like 5 of them against UNLV, including one where the turf monster got him in a wide open hole, and you could see Ashton Jeanty's disappointment in himself on that play. It's also all irrelevant when you consider the final 8-minute drive, 7 carries, 26 yards, when everybody, all 43,000 people in the stands, including the all the guys on the field, whatever, everybody knew they were running the football, and you just give it to Two, and he's going to get the job done.
Yep, I agree. I'll say it was his worst game statistically, and just watching it, but he still was the anchor that allowed us to get a lot of things.
They don't win that game without Ashton Jeanty, people. Like they don't, and that's why I just. And another thing, and I'm going to go into this even further on a show, and we have actually even talked about some of this stuff. Barry Sanders is the GOAT. Like, that's fine. Like, we can all say that.
Yep.
But there's a kid that we're currently watching that is threatening that, and that's awesome. And that being said, Brett McMurphy on Twitter says, hey, Barry Sanders' worst game that year was 154 yards rushing. Ashton Jeanty implying he only had 128 against UNLV.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, most of those people are the Travis Hunter stands, and I've been having to do my own fight myself in a few group chats of mine, but you can't And everyone's caveat is, okay, well, Travis Hunter is playing both sides of the ball. And like we said a few weeks ago, Travis Hunter said it's never been done. But clearly these people have never seen Chris Campbell play, Charles Woodson play.
Scott Matlock play.
I mean, yeah.
My boy Scott Matlock.
This can't be your caveat to giving someone else, better Heisman odds over this kid, because at the end of the day, yes, he plays both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. But he's not setting records for in that regard.
On either side of the ball. That's what I mean. He sent out a tweet this last week, something like creating records, not chasing them. But I don't know what.
That was a very indirect, direct shot.
I know.
For sure.
And this is right after Ashton comes out and says, nah, he's great. I believe I'm the best. What he's doing is amazing. I just believe I'm the best. I don't know why. I don't even know what that was about, man. What records are you? I don't even. Yeah.
I mean, clearly Jeanty has already broken a few records. Just FYI.
I mean, if we're going off Player of the Week records, how many people in Mountain West history have basically every time they play a game win that Offensive Player of the Week award? It doesn't happen very often, if it's ever happened.
I mean, you got Miles Jack, who was a starting running back and a starting Mike. I mean, there are guys that do. It happens. It does happen. So
it's happening different now. I get it, but it's not like. It just feels like he's the first guy to ever do it. I'm like, your freaking coach did it, man.
It's
again,
real.
Shout out
it's
my boy
real
Scott
tough.
Matlock in the NFL too.
My other thing is, are you watching Colorado play and are you watching Boise State play? Because Boise State, behind Ashton Jeanty, almost beat the number one team in the country, who Ohio State also lost to. Colorado lost to Nebraska. Colorado lost to Kansas State. So where was your Heisman guy during these times? And honestly, in my opinion, their quarterback should deserve the award just as much as him. And you have two Heisman guys on your team, and you aren't able to beat those teams.
I never thought I'd say this, but I almost feel like Shedeur Sanders is getting overlooked in the Heisman conversation right now. And by the way, Boise State did beat Kansas State this year. Or no, not this year, but I mean, they have a victory over them, and he's sitting right here next to me. I can't. Sorry to Shane's mom, by the way. I apologize, but we got you, man.
Yeah, I can't grasp it. You have to watch football in order to be part of that committee and make those decisions. I know he dropped quite a bit. It was a combination, though. You had the bye week where he didn't play, so he's clearly going to, drop. But yeah, this game was the hardest defense we have left. San Diego State is always going to be a good defense. They're always going to play us hard. So we know that that's coming. But I think this week, you get back to 200-yard Jeanty.
You'll be just fine.
Yeah.
The Heisman odds, so Ashton drops from first to fourth. It really isn't that far of a drop. I mean, his odds go from plus 200, 250, depending on where you look, to about plus 425. It's really the drop off there, because after that, the fifth place guy, Clemson's quarterback, is now 25-1 odds, right? So that there's quite a significant drop out of the first four, which includes Ashton Jeanty, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and right now the odds-on favorite to win it, Dylan Gabriel, the Oregon quarterback. That's the one that, by the way, being down in Vegas last week, did some sniffing around or whatever. Just wanted to see, is the book excited about Ashton or not? Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's the one that would hurt Las Vegas if he were to win. So. It's not like Las Vegas is going to prevent Ashton Jeanty from winning the Heisman.
I need Vegas to make that call. They seem to make it all the time, so
right?
I need them to make that call for me.
Yeah, but he finishes again, 33 carries, 128 yards, and he was an absolute warrior. And I still think he should be the Heisman favorite. And it's just it is a little ridiculous to sit here and say a dude that rushed for 128 yards in a road win had an off night. And if you want to try to knock his performance by comparing him to the all-time greatest, who, to finish my Barry Sanders point, 30% of Barry's rushing yards that season came against three teams that won a combined 130-1. The Big Eight was not good that year, people. The Big Eight wasn't good that year. Let's not pretend that it's the SEC of this year, or even the Big 12 of this year. Let's not make that. Yeah. Let's not pretend.
For sure, one could even argue that Boise State's opponents have been a little bit tougher than.
I think if you were we'll only know at the end of the year, but if you add it up, ESPN Football Power Index didn't do a strength of schedule for the 1988 season, but it's really not that far off. It's not as far as fans think it is off. It's just not.
Yeah. The Oregon game it's got to be the Heisman stamp for him.
We'll see if it is. Odds dip a little bit. He'll be back in action this week. After 31 carries to tie a career high at Hawaii, he had 33 carries at UNLV to establish a new career high. So how is the Heisman hopeful doing, and will he be ready to go on Friday against San Diego State? This is what head coach Spencer Danielson had to say on Wednesday.
Ashton Jeanty is an absolute warrior. He is banged up. He's living in the training room. He's practicing. He's doing everything he needs to be able to perform at the level he has been. And for him to perform at his best, to do what the team needs, not for Ashton, what the team needs him to do, it's relentless for him. In the training room, how he sleeps, how he hydrates, how he eats. And that's for him. It's for the rest of our players. I mean, when you're going into week 8 of the season, there's nobody across the country that's like, oh my gosh, I feel so fresh right now. So embrace that grind. Embrace the feeling like, yeah, I'm beat up. Embrace it, man. And no different for Ashton. I mean, the amount of carries and what he's got, I mean, he's our guy.
So we'll see if Ashton Jeanty can make the final push here and stay in the contention to win a Heisman Trophy. I think he certainly can, but it begins now with kicking off November, Friday night game against San Diego State. And you know, San Diego State's got a new head coach. He's an offensive background, Sean Lewis. I think it's going to take a moment for them to get the guys in there that he wants, right? Like, when all's said and done, man, you want guys that skill players that want to catch the ball and throw the ball. You should be able to get some good guys out of San Diego eventually here, but he's still kind of trying to turn this thing around. Danny O'Neal is their freshman quarterback. When he's been available, it seems like they've kind of been a different team offensively and just winning and losing football games for that matter. But am I worried about this game? No. But does it have my attention? Certainly.
Trap game.
Another one?
Absolutely. You come off a big win against a tough team that we knew was going to be tough. The spread said it was -3.5. You win by 5. Now you have San Diego State, 23-point spread. Everyone thinks it's smooth sailing. It's first loss I ever got in blue was against San Diego State. It's for sure.
Spencer Danielson lost. He was on the staff when Boise State lost to San Diego State on the blue in 2018, and he brought it up multiple times this week.
They just seem to play so much different. I mean, played at their old stadium, went to overtime and lost. It's just they play so hard. Mm-hmm. They typical pro style team, you know, historically, and always have great backers. I mean, they got a really good guy on defense who flies around.
Yeah, leads the nation in sacks, right? Look at these last couple of games for them, Shane, and hey, you can argue that their opposition hasn't been great in some of them, but I'm going to argue the opposite of that in their most recent game. Central Michigan, they lose 22-21. Hawaii, they win 27-24. The next week, they beat Wyoming 27-24. Last week, they lose to Washington State 29-26, despite having a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter of that game. So they've been in a lot of close games, and they haven't allowed. You look at defensively, man. 26 points, most they've allowed since Cal hit them for 31 in the middle of September. And outside of that, they haven't allowed over 3 touchdowns in a game. So, I mean, defensively is still kind of what has been their bread and butter. So I look for them to try to control the clock with their running back, who earlier this year said that he was better than Ashton Jeanty.
Yes, he did.
I'm definitely not taking his side in this. I will just say this. He's a pretty darn good running back. For normal college standards, not superhuman, out of the universe, Ashton Jeanty, own world created type of whatever. This kid is a pretty good running back. He's got over 4,600 career rushing yards. Started out at Kent State, went to Ball State, wound up at San Diego State to cap off his career. Is he better than Ashton Jeanty? Not even friggin' close. But
I'll take Donnell Pumphrey over him.
Oh, for this kid?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, any day of the week.
Yeah.
But for Boise State fans that are going to go to the game, watch the game, whatever, don't completely dismiss his talents. He's not even in the same ballpark as Ashton Jeanty. He is a good running back, and he will be a key to San Diego State's success up here on the blue. Try to control the game, shrink possessions, keep away from Ashton Jeanty, and then hope your defense can do just enough, as we've seen them do to remain competitive for most of the season, to maybe make this game on Friday interesting.
I don't know if it stood out to you, but the biggest thing that stood out to me when you just said all those scores is they average around that 24-point margin
Yep.
on offense. we are used to holding teams that score 45 and 35
To right around there.
to 24. This makes me feel great
Yeah.
going into a game knowing
Almost cut it in half again.
they aren't a team that is able to score that many points, and you have to score at least that many points to be competitive
Against Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
I mean, Ashton Jeanty's
Yeah.
probably going to
So-
2-3 touchdowns himself.
That makes me feel a lot better knowing they're a team that wants to play defense and stay in the game and try to find ways to win. They're on a team that can get into a track meet, and that's not good here for them.
Not even close. I don't think there's a team. Really, only UNLV is the team that I see as the threat to Boise State in any way, shape, or form, and Boise State just beat them. On that note, real quick, the team that I think Boise State fans have to root for from here on out is Colorado State.
Go Rams.
Yeah, because I think that, hey, I understand what happened last year in Fort Collins. This is just, it doesn't even seem like the same program. And I tried to ask Spencer Danielson about it this week, and he refuses to go there. He refuses to take credit. I admire him for that. But, I mean, we'll call this for what it is. He's been a massive difference. Because I asked him, I was like, you look at last year, Memphis couldn't finish. Colorado State couldn't finish. Fresno State botched that one. I mean, these are all games that Boise State should have won last year. Central Florida up 1 or whatever it was. They had the lead with a minute 24 to go or whatever. Lose that game. They could not finish games in years past. That is actually what's becoming a staple of this team: strong fourth quarter finishes and performances. So it is a different team. But trying to ask Spencer Danielson, I was like, so what's the difference, man? Like, what's the difference? Oh, it's the players. Actually, it's not, because a lot of them are saying,
Same players.
oh, it's the coaching staff. Actually, it's not, because you basically brought back the entire coaching staff. What is the difference? It's the man behind the podium on Monday at press conferences.
Might be some trust in the building.
It is. And is that trust has led to a 6-1 start and a 15th ranking in the AP Top 25, which is the highest the Broncos have been in years. And so Spencer is the difference. Whether he's not going to say it, I'm going to say it because it's obvious. I mean, look at everything that I just laid out there. What's the difference? The guy behind the podium at the Monday press conference.
Yeah, and honestly, I have no idea how this happened, but the stars are kind of aligning for us. Colorado State somehow in the scheduling found a way to avoid
It's amazing.
Boise State, UNLV, and Washington State.
The
three hardest teams that everyone in the Mountain West is playing. But they found a way. I don't know, it might be Vegas working again, but they found a way to avoid all three teams. And the one team that could knock them off would be Fresno.
I don't even know. I can't even remember. I don't even think they have.
I need them to take care of business.
I don't even think they have. I mean, technically, right now, San Diego State is undefeated in Mountain West play. But I don't even think the Rams don't even play San Diego State. So you're right. Like Fresno State at Fresno State is their toughest game. And it'd be interesting to. I don't know all the tiebreakers. We'll figure them out here in a couple of weeks because it'd just be almost useless at this point.
Yeah.
But even if they were to lose, they would have a loss in conference play. UNLV has a loss in conference play. How do they decide that tiebreaker is what they'd have to figure out. But I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like Colorado State's quarterback is you just think of a stat line. He's a perennial 22 of 42 for low 200 yards, maybe a touchdown and 2 picks. Like I'm just like, I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of Colorado State if I'm Boise State, especially considering that game would likely be here in Boise on the blue. And if anything, you pour a little of what happened last year onto the pregame speech. I mean, those guys will come out fired up to get revenge, to win a Mountain West Conference championship game, and then go to the college football playoff. If it's UNLV, they are physical and talented enough to come up here and make it a ball game again. Yeah. So selfishly, if I want to watch a good game, like that's the game that I want. That's the game that the Mountain West should probably want. But in terms of just like the best path, root for Colorado State, man.
Yeah, the stars are aligning. We just need everybody to go out and do their job.
Yeah. Okay, so as they align, the next one on the hit list is San Diego State. So we get to the end of this thing. What do you think for San Diego State this week? You already threw it out there. Spread's a little over 3 touchdowns, almost 3 touchdowns and a field goal. I will say I do kind of feel like that's a lot because we're kind of getting to the point in the season where, especially with the wear and tear on Ashton Jeanty, Breezy Dubar's been in and out of the lineup. They clearly don't quite have the confidence in the true freshman Dylan Riley just to turn him loose in a big game. We're kind of getting to the point in the season where I don't think they get too super cute with style points or anything like that. And if you're up 38-23 in the fourth quarter, you just try to bleed that clock to the end and get out with a 15-point victory. You're not necessarily how much more can we beat them by?
You're really close on that because my guess is I see 17-38.
Okay.
I don't think we cover. I think it's a dogfight, but I think, our explosive runs will be the difference. But I see them getting 17.
I'm good with that. It's
below their average.
It's below their average. And I just, like I was just saying, I think if you're up in the fourth quarter in a game like that, it could be Tyler Crow this week. I'm optimistic. Better than the last few weeks, the chance of Breezy Dubar playing. Sire Gaines, don't hold your breath for a little while, folks. But if they get into that spot, I think you lose that home run, nail in the coffin type run chance with Ashton because he's done so much for this freaking team these last 2 games. If you can save a little wear and tear for the stretch run of the season, you have to make that move because your eyes cannot. They can't divert off the task right in front of you, meaning San Diego State this week, and then once that one's over, Nevada the following week, and so on and so forth. But somewhere you have to at least be considering the bigger picture, which is a chance at the college football playoff. And without Ashton, that goes away.
Yeah, you get up. If you get to the 38-17 point, you pull them.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it's going to hurt the Heisman.
11 minutes to go. Let's run T. Crow out there for a few carries, or Breezy, whoever.
It's going to hurt the Heisman odds. We hear it, we get it, but the ultimate goal is the playoffs.
Well, and what would hurt the Heisman odds even more is either a loss or them not making the college football playoffs, in my opinion. Ashton's well over 2K, 2,400 yards rushing, with a chance to go to the college football playoffs. He is going to be in New York.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
38-17.
38-17. You heard it here first.
I'm trying to think, too. 38-48. That's slightly under, too. I think the over-under is like 56 or something.
Yeah.
I'm scared considering Boise State puts up monster offensive numbers at home, especially under Dirk Cutter, who I believe the Broncos are now, I should have looked this up first, 17-3 with Dirk Cutter as their offensive coordinator, if you include the last 10 games of the 2022 season and this season. He's pretty good. You know what? Retire 2 after the season for Ashton Jeanty and then just put Dirk Cutter's whistle up. He doesn't wear a whistle, but put a whistle up there for him. A visor. He wears a visor. Tack his visor up there alongside Ashton Jeanty's jersey.
Yeah, I see it. It's 38-17.
All right. Everybody, we appreciate you listening, watching. Friday night game, San Diego State here on the Blue, 6 o'clock kickoff. Bronco Roundup Game Day will take you up to kickoff live at Albertson Stadium from 5 to 6 o'clock. We will have post-game coverage later that night on the news at 10. We'll stream the post-game press conference live at KTVB.com. Should be an awesome one. Swing by Shane's tailgate because he's really good at that, apparently. Better wide receiver or tailgater?
Ooh.
Can't believe it's a discussion.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, right?
I'll go receiver.
Okay, cool, sweet. Over 230 catches in his career. I'll take that too. All right, everybody. He's Shane Williams-Rhodes. I'm Jay Tust. This is Jay's Sports Bar, serving the Idaho sports community.